Good evening, hi, welcome. Thanks for joining me in this windy, rainy cinema car park. Just lately I have tended to drive straight home from the cinema to do the review on my driveway. Camera's on the wonk. There we go. But this evening I wanted to come out and do my review straight away. I always used to do them like instantly, and I will continue to try and do that. Sometimes I have to do them later on, sometimes I have to do them the following day, but part of the I guess part of my USP, if you will, was always doing them like instantly, and it just being like a reaction to the film. I don't think with reflection I would feel any differently about this film that I've just been to see. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Tonight's film was a new horror film called The Monkey. This is from the twisted mind of one Mr. Stephen King. It is based on a short story of his, but it has been brought to the screen by the, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, the equally twisted mind of Mr. Osgood Perkins. Now, Osgood Perkins is a writer, a director, an actor. He is also the son of Anthony Perkins, best known to horror fans as Norman Bates of Psycho fame. So he's had, I'd imagine, quite an interesting upbringing. He brought the world the absolute batshit horror that was Longlegs last year with Nicolas Cage, and now he is back with another offering, although both horror films are very, very different film to Longlegs. So The Monkey, as I said, was a Stephen King short story that Osgood Perkins has taken and adapted for the screen. He's both written and directed it. This film is absolutely bananas, monkey pun intended. So the story goes that a man, played by Adam Scott, he arrives at a pawn shop at the beginning of the film, and what he's trying to do is offload a wind-up drumming monkey toy. Very similar to the monkey toy that you see in Toy Story 3. That's part of the security system at the daycare centre. This is, it's not tiny. We're something kind of a decent-sized fairy monkey. He's got a little red leather waistcoat on and a little drum, and you turn the key in his back, and he smiles a big smile, and he raises his drumstick, it spins in his hand, and then he starts to drum. Well, what's wrong with that? Well, let me tell you, once he's done that, someone dies pretty quickly and horribly. Like, good God, the deaths in this film are nutty. So at the very beginning, we see we have a cameo from the excellent Adam Scott, who is trying desperately to unload this thing to a pawn shop owner who's not interested. I mean, I don't want to do spoilers. I never do spoilers. But yeah, the pawn shop owner dies horribly. This is all the first 3 minutes of the film. And then we see him try to destroy the monkey. To no avail, because very shortly after, we see his twin sons, who are now living with just their mum. Their dad has disappeared, and they're going through their dad's stuff. And amongst the dad's things, all the things from his travels as a pilot, boomerangs and what have you, nudie playing cards, they find what's like a big hat box size, and inside the box is the monkey. And they don't think anything of it. They take it out, they have a look at it, they turn the key, they leave it, they're not interested. It's worth pointing out, although they are twin brothers, they are not particularly close. Bill is the eldest by 3 minutes. He's quite a cool kid. He's very at ease with himself. He's clearly not very bright. His younger brother Hal, younger brother by 3 minutes, is smaller, weaker, wears glasses, just generally is a more timid soul. So it's just the two boys and their mum. And then once the monkey is discovered, well, then people around them start to die horribly. We fast forward to the present day. The film starts in, we originally meet the boys as kids in 1999, and then it comes up to the present day. And Hal is living as quiet a life as he possibly can. He has a son that he barely sees, but the reason he doesn't see his son is because he doesn't want to be around him, because he basically thinks he's cursed. They're running with this monkey. Both boys, when they were younger, they tried to get rid of it. They thought they'd succeeded and they tried to live their lives, but obviously they live their lives quite separately. They're not close, and nothing's happened until the monkey returns and all hell breaks loose again. I cannot stress enough how horrendous and nutty the deaths are in this film. And it, like, literally, the other night I was talking about Heart Eyes, also wall-to-wall crazy deaths. So I've seen, Love Hurts, the same. I've seen a lot of people injured and murdered horribly in the last 3 films I've been to see. I'm trying to think if there was anything between Love Hurts and Heart Eyes, and I don't think there was. So I've basically just watched 3 films, 3 90-minute films full of horrendous deaths have been my last 3 cinema visits. I'm all right with it. I'm here. I'm absolutely here for it. There is real humour in this film, even though you're watching people die horribly. There's an air of, I don't know, not silliness, but because you're dealing with Toy Monkey and Mystical Curse, but there's a sort of tongue-in-cheekness to it. Stephen King has always, woven humour through his work. Yes, it's terrifying, but he can do light and shade, and there's a kind of a touching father-son, estranged father-son thing running through the centre of this story, as you see Hal on his 1 week a year with his teenage son Petey, trying to keep his son safe while desperately wanting to have a relationship with him. The actor who plays the young Petey, his name is Colin O'Brien. I recognised him as playing the young Wonka in the most recent version, in the Timothée Chalamet version. He plays the kid version of Wonka that we see on the boat with the mum. The adult versions of Hal and Bill are played by British actor Theo James, who's been in various things. I've just heard his name mentioned in conjunction with Bond lately, but then I don't think there's any British male actor who's handsome who hasn't been associated with Bond in the last 10 years. That's just what people do. British, handsome, strong, be Bond. Although I do think Theo James would make quite a good Bond, to be fair. He was very good in this. It rattles along nicely. It is, again, it's another 90-minute. It's very entertaining. The deaths are horrific. It's funny, and it's very daft, but it's supernatural, but in the fun way. Obviously, a lot of King's stuff, he's master of horror, and some of the stuff that he's written and the films that have been based on his work have genuinely unsettled me to my very core. Quite famously. It's not famous at all, but I've tried to read it twice and failed both times. I tried it once when I was very young, like about 12, which is stupid, and then I tried it again in my later teens, and I just couldn't get through it because it was too horrendous and I could not cope with how dark it was. But then, he also wrote the story that my favourite film of all time is based on. That's not a horror film. That's the book, The Body That Became Stand By Me. So, and he's also responsible for Shawshank Redemption, which I think a lot of people either forget or don't know in the first place. So I think he's absolutely magnificent at what he does. And I think Osgood Perkins is also just brilliant, because Longlegs was odd and really creepy and unsettling, and it lingered with me. And then this is entirely different, although, like I say, both technically horror films. He also has a brilliant cameo as the boy's uncle, who has to take over. He's clearly the mum when their mum dies. Spoiler, sorry. When their mum dies, they have to go and live with their aunt and uncle. The Uncle Chip is played by Osgood Perkins in a brilliant cameo. And if you're not good with violent deaths, then give it a swerve. If you enjoy your horror films quite pacey and silly and fun, and if you can handle watching people die in really interesting and horrible ways, then absolutely watch it, because it was a right laugh. Great fun. Thoroughly enjoyed it. May come and see something that isn't a 90-minute horror / film with high body count next. Thanks for listening and for watching. Share the channel, bring other people along. I would love to have them. Okay, thanks for watching, folks. Katie out.